Hello and welcome back. Have you ever thought of yourself as a benevolent dictator who also happens to be in the world of Fallout, commanding legions upon legions of nuclear apocalyptic survivors? I don't even know if that's the right words or context, but basically you survived a nuclear apocalypse and suddenly you take over the lives of hundreds of people and you build a underground city and, generally just annoy things or get annoyed. Really, well, if you have, because you're a complete psycho, then Fallout Shelter is for you. Now, keeping in with the theme of what I've been doing lately, yet again, this is free to play. Now, just to show pretty much what is actually going on, I have sped up the video by times two. Mainly because this game consumes an obscene amount of your time, which is probably the worst point about it. I started playing this at about 8 a.m. in the morning, and by 8 p.m., this is about as far as I got, watching Jacob do sit ups. Now, there are a variety of interesting, engaging elements really in this game. You've got daily quests, as it were, which if you complete one, another one slides into. You've basically just got a constant flowing quest that offer different rewards, whether that be caps, which is your currency, or NukaCola, which is your in-game currency. You can either buy it or you can earn it. You can go out on quests, which is what I am showing here. I'm selecting my team, I'm giving them health. I have a priest, that's that Daniel Hardy. If you saw that, ignore him. We ignore priests. You've got a level up system, which is quite strange. You can increase their what's known as special, which is strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, and luck, if I remember correctly, because I've played Fallout. So this is one of the quests I'm actually showing here. This is a little bit more interactive and probably the most interaction really you have with your underlings or whatever. Basically, you'll be given a quest, which is generally just go kill something. It gives you level requirements depending on what is required. So this is your character level as well as the weapon they've got equipped. So it'll be characters level 10 and above, and they must be equipped with a weapon that does 5 damage or up. So that basically gives you a scaling of how difficult the game possibly could get or how easy it could get. Now, my only drawback with these quests is the combat is not very interactive at all. Basically, you stick them in a room and they go haywire for a little bit, and whoever wins, wins. You can heal your characters in the middle of combat, you can leave them to die, you can resurrect them. It's basically you just drag them to the next room and click on the items that you want. Maybe even level them up. Congratulations, person, you're now level 14. Overall, really, I'm going to have to say I'm quite biased with these sorts of games because they're not really my cup of tea in a way. I mean, if my wife played this, she'd happily be sat there for about a century just playing away. This is her sort of game. Actual Fallout, like Fallout 3, Fallout 4, that's more my sort of game. But, this is a free-to-play game, and we've got to try and keep everyone inclusive. This is a very diverse world, and my wife will probably hurt me otherwise. So I've got to keep a broad spectrum and open mind. So, in general, though, this is actually a pretty good game. It's got a nice little charm about it because it's done in its little, I don't know what to call it, the Fallout cartoon style, like the Pip-Boy Man or whatever he's called. It's all done like that, basically. It's all quite cartoony, it's got a nice little charm about it. It's quite fun. It's like I said already, it's very, very time consuming. So, and it takes frigging ages as well. Like to get anything done takes absolutely ages. To build up a decent supply of electricity takes yonks. To build up a decent supply of food, like I didn't, my city's dead now, they're all friggin' dead. They starved to death while not taking baths, so they died stinkily because I ran out of food and water. So they died in a well-lit area, starving while stinking each other out. So, you know, just because I couldn't keep up with the demands of the food and the water. This is why I suck at this game. I hate micromanaging. It's friggin' annoying. I also suck at Sims, by the way. So, but overall, really, it's not a bad game. I just suck at it. So I'm trying to keep the fact that I suck at it out of the equation, which is really kind of actually hard to do because, well, I suck at it. So therefore, I didn't really enjoy it that much. But my wife gave it a pretty good go, and she loves these sorts of games. And she's gone for ages. She's still going for ages. There seems to be a little bit of a drawback that if you turn the game off, the game sort of seems to carry on, like while you're not playing it, even if you turn your computer off. I believe this is also a mobile app as well. I'm not sure if you can connect the two, so you can possibly sort of play on the go. But it doesn't require a lot of your CPU usage. So she plays this and another game called Banished, like at the same time, because she's wacky like that. And her micromanaging skills, because she's married to me, are top notch. So she's like flying through it and doing absolutely amazing and wondrous things, and she's really enjoying it. And she's possibly not too enjoying about the quest because that's more my sort of thing. We're like complete opposites on the game spectrum, which is quite nice and quite interesting. But couples that play together stay together. But this isn't so much about my married life. This is more about the game. So moving on. Stand on those cockroaches, you devilishly fiendish happy people. That is one thing that my wife actually, just to point out, my wife first commented on when she first saw these quests. If you get your little characters happy, they have this permanent creepy smile on their face, and then they run around shooting things with the biggest grin ever, and it is creepy. They look there. You can see there. They look creepy as hell. They're like full on American at this moment. They've got a massive smile on their face while wielding very badly, I might add, because they're all like trying to do an Arnold Schwarzenegger by wielding the weapon in their one arm and their other arm just sort of floating there. And yeah, they just look mental, and they're running around shooting things. It's quite disturbing. But it's just little quirks, if you will. So really, in general, so far we've got very time-consuming, creepy as hell, and you can also impregnate your women. Way! So I'm pretty sure that's basically got all the sad little nerds that are still stuck in their mum's basement quite excited. Finally, I can get laid. It's a bit weird. You basically put a male and a female who have high charisma in a room, in the living room, or whatever you want to call it, together. They get talking. They wave their arms around. Then they start doing a weird sort of I'm really itchy dance. I don't know how else to describe it. It looks like they're dying to scratch their back or something. And they have a cuddle. Then they kiss. And then they run off behind the scenes. And a load of smiley faces appear. And then the guy comes out looking absolutely ecstatic with himself. He's now got a massive cheeky grin on his face. And the woman, despite the fact that this instantly puts her happiness meter, which you can see on that Curtis guy, that little smiley face, 85%, that's their happiness meter. So yeah, a woman getting knocked up instantly puts them to 100% happy, although they look miserable as sin. It must be the yellow sweater they're forced to wear. You get a woman pregnant, she wears blue like tracksuit bottoms and a yellow sweater. Although if you put them in a workplace, they happily sprint there, which I don't think is too good for your health. From pregnancy to childbirth, it's 3 hours. From childbirth to that child then becoming an adult, so you could abuse it by sticking it in a power plant or a diner or sending it out into the world so it can die, is yet another 3 hours. And whether you turn your game off and computer off with this or not, it doesn't matter. Those 3 hours will still go by. It's not in-game time. And then you can log back in and, you know, they're about to drop, or you can log back in and little Timmy, who was once an annoying little brat running around getting in the way, is now ready to work in a power plant for free, because, you know, slave labour. This is true of the not using in-game time of pretty much everything within the game. When you send them on quests, it takes travel time. It can take 30 minutes for them to get there. I've seen one that takes 27 hours for them to get there. If you can't be asked to play for 27 hours straight, you can just save and exit. And then at some point the next day, log back in, and they should be near enough there or whatever. And then you can play one of these wonderful quests and, yeah, be weirded out by the fact that you drag them around the room. It is, honestly, it is a good game. Like I said, I'm biased because it's not my sort of game, but it really is. It's kept me pretty busy in the background, like while I was like editing a video. I'd just check in on them and make sure they've not, I don't know, stopped being smiling psychotic serial killers. So it's a pretty good background game, really. You can possibly, like I said, it doesn't take up a lot of CPU, so you can have it playing on in the background. So you can go about doing other things, sort your tea party out, clean the kitchen, pet your cats, play another game, and you just occasionally just check back in on them to make sure they haven't gone crazy and torched the place. So it can be pretty good that way. However, if you leave things too long with the game logged in, this is one thing that really does annoy me, is say like in the power plant, once they've generated enough electricity for you to click on and it goes into your storage meter or whatever, if you don't click on it, they don't generate more electricity. They just sit there and wander around the room. Well, they don't sit there, they just wander around the room and do nothing. They're idle. This halts your electricity production, so the more time you spend away from it without clicking on it, the more electricity they will use, and then they can put themselves in the deficit, which then possibly means all the lights go out. And if all the lights go out, the first thing to go would be your laboratories. So you can no longer heal and cure radiation. So you can't heal them, you can't cure their radiation. If you get attacked, which you can do, eventually they will die a horrible, painful, gruesome death, unlike my hungry, starving, smelly death. So they really do become a little bit idle, which is a bit annoying. Another one you need to remember is, because you can send some of your characters out into the world to collect things, is don't always send out your strongest little guy. I learned that the hard way because he was the only one that was actually equipped with a weapon and decent armor. I sent him out. Next thing you know, I was getting raided by raiders, and yeah, they killed my entire what are we calling this? A city? Well, a vault. You know, vault. I've actually called it Vault 666 because, you know, it's hell in here with me being your malevolent dictator, benevolent maybe. I don't know. Depends what mood I'm in. So I even get the pregnant women to work. See all those yellow sweaters? That's the pregnant people. Work, you pregnant wenches, work. But in general, it's, like I said, it's a pretty good game. It is very time consuming. What you're seeing at the stages of me now, this is me playing pretty solidly for about a week. That's not a lot on screen. As you can see, my electricity is fine, but my food and water is dwindling. It's a testament as to how much I suck at this. That general overall happiness of my people, I mean, that guy's at 10%. He's about ready to hang himself. Jesus. I mean, it is time consuming. It takes absolutely ages to do anything whatsoever. It can frustrating. Like claw hands, stare at screen, shaking violently, screaming why. Frustrating. Like if you thought Dark Souls was a pain, try micromanaging 50 idiots because that's what they are. They will literally wander around, start a fire, and then lay in it, and then they cry to you when they're low on health, and then all of their friends cry to you when you let the idiot die. They don't actually start fires, but just like random fires will start for no reason whatsoever. Like you'll be happily plodding along, trying to build your enhanced pistol 44 caliber, and then out of nowhere a fire will start. Or you can try and rush the progress of a room, and then out of nowhere a fire starts. Or you can get attacked by radroaches or moles. And the annoying thing with this is, and I don't quite understand it, if an incident happens in the base, the vault, despite whether the individual characters are being attacked or not, their health, if they're in a room within that incident, so if there's a fire in, I don't know, the living room and I've got 4 people in there, despite the fact, actually a fire's a bad idea, let's go with mole rats that aren't actually attacking anything. So if mole rats invade, your characters just randomly start losing their health. Along with the fact that a load of sirens go off, which completely annihilates your electricity supply. Grr. The game doesn't tell you that. Like for me, I like numbers. Okay, so if I add a new room, I want to know how much more electricity I'm going to be needing to build this room. It gives you a little line in the bars up top, which I'm not sure if you could really see. And that is the recommended amount for you to have to keep your power on, for all of your citizens to have food and water. So if it goes below that, it goes into the red, which means you're now in a deficit. But it doesn't tell you that each person will consume 5 food every minute. Each person will use 10 water every day. It doesn't tell you this. You'll just sit there and just build more and more, get more women pregnant and more pregnant, and then all of a sudden you're all starving to death in the dark with no water. And it doesn't tell you how much you need, so you've kind of got to build up a massive reserve and then expand slowly, which for me gets a little bit irritating, which is why I'm now in a deficit quite spectacularly, I might say. So all of my people are dead now, never mind. So it can get really annoying in that sense, but if you're good at micromanaging, maybe if you played Sims a bit, Banished, I can't really think of any others really of that sort of style game. Rimworld, perhaps. The wife's getting involved now because she knows this. She knows this crap. But really, this game is really quite good. It's a bit irritating at times. You have to take your time with it. You can't rush into it, otherwise you're just going to end up just having to start a new vault because you'll just completely annihilate it. It takes a lot of time off you, I will admit. It near enough nuked about 4 days of my life. I just lost them just because I was just sat here staring at it, just wanting them to hurry up because they take ages to do anything. Which is why doing the quests for the NukaCola is really useful because you can rush things with NukaCola. I love NukaCola, which is also an in-game purchase, which is kind of irritating as well because I know it's a free-to-play game and they need to get money from somewhere, but it's laughable when they charge you an obscene amount for an item that you can get in game anyway. It's like, what are you doing? How dare you do this to me? But you know, there are worse things out there, and if you're just looking for a game to chill out with, have a bit of fun, maybe play in the background, maybe play it at work, it's nowhere near graphically intense at all. I reckon if you've got a MacBook like Apple, I reckon you could play this on that easy, not a drama. So it is really good, and it's really fun. You just need to be aware that you might, I don't know, lose your life and end up living in a vault. The quest lines of them are really quite interesting. I found it probably the most enjoyable part of it. You can pick up a lot of items. You can pick up weird and wacky. You can make guns out of globes. You know the things you used to have when you were a little kid in school. It's literally the planet on like a weird stick, and you can spin it. You can make weapons out of them. You can make a weapon out of duct tape and a clock. Like I kid you not. It's mind-boggling the things that you can find, and then you get back to your vault, and it's like, oh, that pistol. To make that pistol, I require a hamster wheel, a bit of tape, and a toothpick. That makes a pistol, apparently. But you know, it's wacky, it's weird, it's Fallout. What do you want? It really is just a shame for me that I couldn't enjoy it too much because, like I keep saying, it's not my sort of game. But since playing it, my wife has seen it. She's downloaded it. She's absolutely in love with it. She has one of her YouTube videos on in the background, and occasionally just she sits there crocheting because she's weird and a complete grandma in that manner. She occasionally just checks on them, takes of her resources, and puts along with her happy day-to-day little life. It's a great little game. It's a bit mental though. I don't know how to describe it. You just have to give it a go. Just trust me. Just give it a go. Look, clock, duct tape. That's a friggin' pistol, that. And a snow globe. Not a snow globe, a globe. So we've got duct tape, clock, and a globe. Minigun. You're getting a minigun out of that. That would be amazing. I'm not even joking. It gets that weird and wonderful. I've even got like a rug, so I can be wielding a minigun in comfort. Why not? Well, anyway, that's me. Thank you very much for watching. Give this game a go. It is really good. Anyway, catch you later. Have fun.